Okay. Yeah. So good evening, everyone, and good morning for those who are joining us from overseas. I'm Dr. Mary. I am a developmental pediatrician storyteller based in Mumbai. And before I start, I just like to have my colleagues introduce themselves, Sheetal and Kanaga.
Yes. Hello, I'm Sheetal from Mumbai. I'm a practicing psychologist. And hello to everyone.
Hello. Yeah, this is Kanaka Durga. I am a founder of Alabanza. I'm a soft skill trainer, storyteller, and a Spanish mentor. Thank you for the opportunity Eric has given me to lead this session. And to Mary and with me, Mary and Sheetal also.
Sure. So we'll start. And if you do not have a paper and pen, I would just like to give you a moment to get that. And if you all can, it would be lovely if you could turn on your videos. Lovely to see the interaction in the group that's here.
Yes, we have 21 people in the session. So if you can turn on your camera, please do.
Yeah. So while just like Eric shared, the word ADHD has a negative connotation. And today we are here not to discuss the diagnosis or use the space for, considering whether there is ADHD or not. We are here to look at, like also how Eric shared, how we could reframe it and how we could use storytelling to the benefit of children or individuals with ADHD. And so let me start. So when you hear about ADHD, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? It would be nice if you could just write in the chat. Whatever is your experience with ADHD, just knowing the word or having worked with children, individuals. So if there's something that comes to your mind, it would be nice if you could just put it down in the chat. Short attention span, Pain Marie writes, hyperactive kids, often misunderstood. Distraction, frenetic energy, super energy. Yeah. Challenges, focusing one's attention, always on the go. Yeah. So these are some things that we typically associate with the word ADHD. And today we will look in the first part on how we can reframe this. So typically when we hear the word ADHD, it has inattention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity. So these are three parts which medically classify a person to have ADHD based on some criteria, but we're not going there on how you classify. What does ADHD typically impact? It impacts a person's organization skills. It impacts a person the way they regulate themselves emotionally, the way they regulate themselves, their attention to something, which is why they may appear inattentive or all over the place, finding it difficult to set boundaries for themselves and so on. So to start with, I'd like to invite my friend Kanaga, who will just give us a short brief on what are the symptoms. Now, when we talk about symptoms, this is basically how it is seen in the larger world. This is to say that when we see these symptoms, it is what tells us that probably this person has ADHD.
Yeah.
I'll just share my screen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. These are some symptoms where the ADHD we can see. Trouble paying attention. They are easily distracted. Forgets the homework. Trouble finishing the classwork. Talks too much. Impatience. Low self-esteem and disorganization. These are some symptoms we can see in ADHD. And my next slide, Mary. Inattention. What is this inattention? They have the attention, but it's very low. They have a low attention span. They will not sit at one place, even though they are not sitting in one place, but they listen. They listen. Whatever we say, it goes into a subconscious mind. When we raise a question, they are able to answer for the right question. Much longer time to complete. Even though they have a knowledge, but they prolong in answering the way. They take a long time, and careless errors and forgetfulness. These are some basic things in inattention. What is okay? Next, my hyperactivity. I have experienced when I visit so many schools. based on this ADHD, a child which attracted me, the child never sit with me to listen the story. The child keep on roaming here and there. So many times I call the child to sit with me to listen the story. But the child created so many distractions when I'm narrating a story. At last, when I put an end to the story, I called the child. I raised a question, but the child answered very well. Even though it was the child was restless, but he's taking all the knowledge from the teachers around, friends around. When right time comes, when we question, the child will answer perfectly. The child unable to sit still often tends to walk, tendency to touch the things repeatedly, finding the reasons and excuses to be in a motion, and often aimless and purposeless. My next slide, Mary. Impulsivity. What is impulsivity? Often blurts out answer in the class and always interrupting others, getting difficulty getting along with the friends, shows impatience and poor planning skills. There is a no plan for the child. Randomly it comes to the class and listens to a story whenever we rise, but they are very hyperactivity, impulsivity, but when we ask them something, they will answer correctly. And the next slide, Mary.
Okay. Yeah, so these are the symptoms which the children or individuals are largely known for. But let us look at a different side of ADHD too. And to share that, I would like to tell you a story. It's a real story. And while I'm telling you, you might even guess who this person is. So this is a story of a young boy who's now an adult. He was the one of 3 children, the youngest of the 3, a US native. And he was known to be hyperactive. In his own words, bouncing off the walls. So he found it difficult to sit still. He found it difficult to pay attention in class. And he was often known as a mischief maker, always trying to get attention. And in fact, his teacher told his mother that he will not be able to focus on anything. Imagine how it was for a mother to hear that. And his mother, who was also a school teacher, a principal, in fact, of a local school, found it very difficult to take it in. As part of growing up with his sisters, he used to go to the local aquatic club and used to go swimming. And often, initially, it was also very difficult for him. He didn't seemingly take it like a fish to water initially. He had his time where he got used to it, needed encouragement, support, disciplining to get into that routine. But in his own words, again, when he learned to swim, he could just feel free in the water. And he could, while he couldn't sit still in class, in the water, he could be there for hours together. At the age of 9, he was diagnosed with ADHD, and this came as a shock for his mother. However, she took it in her stride and tried to provide him with support. In the sense, she knew that in case he didn't like to read, she would give him the sports section of the newspaper to read, to encourage him, because that was his interest. In case he didn't show any interest in maths, she made the problems related to something with sports or swimming to make it sound interesting to him. And that's really seemed to work for him. By the age of 10, he found a coach who was very disciplined and could see his areas of strength and help him with his challenges as well, and help him channelize his potential in the right way. After some time, he stopped taking the meds because it made him feel left out from the rest of his class or rest of his peers. But he didn't stop swimming. He kept swimming. And also the other thing about behaviors. So like we know, children with ADHD have issues with managing behaviors, but his mother also provided him with support and understanding. And over a period of time, this young man realized that communicating, asking for help is a good way to get in touch with his feelings, to ask for help, and to help him get regulated. And now, at the age of 15, he competed for his first Olympics. And just a few years ago, he retired from Olympics as a well-known Olympian who's won around 28 medals, out of which 23 medals are gold. And I'm wondering if anyone can guess who this person is. Yes, Barry?
Michael Phelps.
Yes, that's right. So Michael Phelps, a great Olympian, a great swimmer, and he's very openly speaking about his ADHD and how it's come in his way, and also how it has helped him channelize his potential, how it has helped to hyperfocus. Because on one hand, when we talk about inattention for children or individuals with ADHD, there is also this ability to hyperfocus when they find what's there for them. And while we know about medications and therapy and all that, what we all know is also that when these children or individuals have a very firm support from family, caregivers, teachers, it really helps them thrive and reach their true potential. Which brings me to this, that ADHD can be this, that is hyperactivity, distractibility, and impulsivity, but it can also be all of this. Passionate, outspoken, strategic. I mean, you can see it's right there. That's all, and there's more to it. And so today we are going to do a small exercise on reframing our focus, moving the focus from the difficulty part to bringing a strength-based perspective. For this, we are going to create a story using each one of these difficulties. So we'll be inviting you to join into 3 breakout rooms, which Eric will do in a minute. But before that, let me tell you all what are we going to do in those breakout rooms. So we are going to reconstruct the story of these difficulties into a 6-part story method, where each group will work on one of the main challenges. So one group will work with hyperactivity, one group will work with inattention, and one group will work with impulsivity. For the story, we will think of it in 6 parts. The first is we think of a protagonist who has this problem. And what is this problem? For example, if it's hyperactivity, what are the challenges that he faces? What are his strengths? And think about an event or a person or something that brings about a change in his life. It could be a coach, or a teacher or a parent, or some function or event that happens in his life. And what happens as a result? What is the resolution at the end of it? So we are trying to construct this in this 6-part method. And to facilitate, each of us will be there in one of the rooms to guide you through it. So so can we have the breakout rooms, Eric?
Yes, I have to make them manually. So the 3 titles are hyperactivity, impulsivity, and what's the third one?
So group 1 would be hyperactivity.
Hyperactivity.
People in it. Group
Yeah.
2 would be Kanaga with inattention, and I would be in group 3 with impulsivity.
Okay, just a minute.
So what we are looking at is shifting our lens, the way we look at the children or an individual, because it is of late, a lot of people have been diagnosed much into their adulthood with ADHD, which actually makes them feel more empowered to understand what it's to be like with a mind which is very neurodivergent.
Let me just repeat. Hyperactivity is Sheetal,
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
impulsivity is Mary,
yes,
and inattention is Kanaga.
yes.
Kanaga, did you want to say something?
No, 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 no.
No, no. Okay, just give me a second here. Now, we do have the people who have their cameras off. If the cameras are off, I'm not putting them in the rooms, right? So if you'd like to go into a room, please turn your camera on now. Okay.
Story. No. Where is it? Wait.
So just sharing the slide till Eric is making the room, so you know. This is a 6-part method which we will use to construct the story, where we'll think of a person and give him some character, him or her. What is the problem? What are the challenges? And Kanaga shared a list of what typically seems to be the issues. We could use some of that. What are his strengths? You could think beyond out of the box and see what strengths you would like to attribute this person to. Bring about an event, a person that could bring change, and what happens as a result of it, or what's the resolution like? I'm sure you all will find some inspiration around you, or people around you.
Okay, actually, oh, two more people are coming in. Actually, I even if your camera is turned off, I'm putting you in a room. It's too
Yeah.
complicated to do otherwise. And these two new people who've come, let me just put them into a room oh, actually, as they come in, I'll feed them
Yes,
in.
Eric.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank
so are you ready to go?
Yes. Are we ready to go?
Yeah,
Yes.
yes.
Very good.
Thank you.
Okay, for about 10 minutes or more, 12 minutes?
Yes. 10 minutes, Eric.
Okay. Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
There was this boy in class 5. He was named out of the class.
Yes.
I'm recording. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Please go ahead.
So should I start again? No.
Uh,
It's okay.
No,
there was-
Jyoti, continue.
There was this boy in the class who was labeled as out of the class. He would never stay in the class. He was so restless. On some pretext or the other, he would want to go out. I want to drink water. I have forgotten this, or can I get something? Or mostly out of the class. And then it was difficult. He was missing out on his lessons. Teachers would be all the time, after him. He wouldn't complete his work. Parents were called. And as usual, he wasn't faring well because he was not attending to the lessons. And to top it all, the children had labeled him. And once it so happened, he went out of the class, and the event was coming up, and the arts teacher was creating things for the event. Barry, please. Yeah.
And so the child named out of the class asked the arts teacher, "What are you doing?" And this teacher was creating some kind of decoration in the hallway or in the presentation room that involved a lot of physical labor, something like putting up garlands or putting things up on the wall. And the teacher was a bit bedraggled, and the child said, "Well, what are you doing?" "Oh, I'm doing this for the big gala that we have coming up." And the child says, "Well, are you doing it all over?" And she says, "Yes, I'll be here all day." And the child says, "Well, I can help." And the child just jumps into action, learns the task. It's a very physical task that involves, climbing up or putting things up or tying things. And the child is just, lickety split, gets it all up. And the teacher is very appreciative. And then whenever the event actually happens, there's an opportunity for recognition of the child, that the head of the school, acknowledges the art teacher, and the art teacher says, "Well, actually, it was out of the class who was out of the class and found a purpose and did this whole thing." And then they identify that out of the class is kind of a go-to for things like that, where there's something that needs to be done, that that child thrives out of the class and thrives with physical movement and with tasks.
When
Thank
I
you for
have the
sharing.
same kind of Jyoti, as she was mentioning, the same kind of out of the class boy in my class. I found the boy was very imaginative and saying that the reason for going out of the class was that he is worried about his mother, and that is mother taken away by some thieves and some robbers, something like that he used to tell. So then what I did is that I thought, because he is very imaginative and creating a lot of stories, I started buying him that if he sits for one period completely in the class, then I used to give him a storybook that was very conveying a positive message. So that brought a lot of changes, as Mary was saying, that physical activity. I just gave him the storybooks, positive, conveying positive this thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
that helped him a lot.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Geeta. And in the interest of time, I'd invite the second group who would like to share. Kanaga, who would like to share from your group?
Yeah. Anybody like Kajal, can you?
Yes, okay, I'll do that. Okay. So we made it into a story of a sort. So this is a girl, ADHD. The symptoms are usually different from the boys. So here the story is, there she goes again, off to that place which no one knows of. Daydreams, that would you adults would say, daydreams. But that was the place she was surrounded by clouds of ideas and inspiration that would rain down on her. There was this little girl. Everyone and no one knew what she was going through. Everyone thought, she was just a normal child. But there she had so many ideas that surrounded her, that engulfed her. She would start one thing, then jump to another, then another, then another, completing none. Her books were filled with doodles. When things would go bad, her answer books would be filled with creative pictures. And that's when the teacher thought, something isn't right. Something must be done. She seems to be present physically, but absent sometimes mentally. So that's when she went to the counselor, trying to find a solution. Counselor spoke to the child. The child spoke of many things, many things. She would jump from one topic to another. That's when the parents were called in. And parents were explained. The child was brilliant. She had many ideas, but unable to sort them. It was like finding tiny gems in sand, something that's lost in sand. And she's trying to find that. So they were advised, the parents were advised to go to the counselor or try something on their own to help the child. And that's what parents try to do. Help the child sort the life, compartmentalize things for her. And that's how she was able to function from one task to another. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kajal, for that story, and very nicely described. Like you rightly said, in girls, it looks very different from that in boys. And often they get missed also for the same reason, that it's not the same way. They may be more showing quieter, inattentive, but the mind is always on a trip, thinking, imagining, curious, daydreaming. It looks like daydreaming, but who knows what all is being dreamt of there. And with that, yes, Kajal.
Yes, it's a total bombardment, and they are just like, if you ask them a question, they have an answer for it.
Yes, 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 totally.
You get lazy also at times.
Yes, I would say they get labeled as lazy, but actually it is a challenge that they have to actually get a task started, which comes across as laziness. So that's the label we are trying to reframe also. And I'd like to call Rohini with your story.
Yeah. So this is a personal experience. When I worked as a preschool teacher, there was a boy 5 years old in my class named Nidarshan. He had some delayed milestones, so he was brought to the school at the age of 5. So before that, he did not know anything about, alphabets, numbers, whatever it was. So all the time in a class of 10 in my classroom, he just used to loiter around firstly. And next, whenever there was an activity, whenever there was a topic that was being discussed, he just used to jump abruptly to answer whatever used to come to his mind. He just used to answer it without waiting for his turn, and without even thinking whether whatever he was answering was correct or not. So that was the state of mind of him. I had a challenging time in the initial days because, I really did not know how to take it up. So rest of all children, the curriculum was being done properly, and for him, it was altogether different. So I started understanding his pace, his mindset, what was going through. Then I started, bringing in smaller elements into the classroom to make him, positioned, sit at a place, wait for his time. I used to have, music in my mobile phone, a clock, a timer. When I just tell him, Nidarshan, see, whenever this music comes in, turns on, you have to just answer. Till then, you have to be quiet. So initially, he was not so, but later on, whenever the music was played, he used to come forward and answer, and we used to have a big clap, a big round of applause for him from the entire classroom. So slowly he started answering only now when he listens to particular music on my mobile phone. That way, it was one thing. And in a couple of months, what I have observed is his grasping was very good. And his orally telling something, narrating something was really very good. That is what I have observed. So whenever I had, story sessions during the weekends, we used to have regular story sessions. I used to make him one of the very important characters. For example, if it is a lion and a mouse story, hare and a tortoise story, he used to be the tortoise, or he used to be the lion in the story, because he loved being very powerful. The power he wanted to show, grumbling, roaring like a lion and all. So that made him stand in that particular place for some time. And after the other child narrates, tells his dialogue, and this person has to tell his dialogue. So I used to wait and look for his chance. So slowly he has improved, and now he's in grade 4 or 5 and these things. And as Shukrita, would you like to add something to this? She had also added a beautiful element, which this boy also had. Shukrita, would you like to add?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Rohini. The boy also, we are focusing on his strengths, that he is somebody who loved to play the piano. This just came by chance, there's a piano at the corner, and he just loved to play the piano, and he was really good at it at his age, he was 3.5 or something. So, so we realized that piano also had a very calming effect on him. So we kept the piano in the corner of the class, and whenever he used to feel very, he needed to regulate himself in some sense, he would like to go to that, go and, play the piano. Also very, very warm, on pet day, he loved pets. So he would go and, he'd be very compassionate and, really want to go very close and, no inhibitions like, oh, I can't touch this, or I can't do, very, very spontaneously pick up a rabbit, which was there, or, and, or a tortoise which somebody had brought. So very, very warm and so compassionate, and a lot of empathy. Towards animals in general. And also he was very, very good at craft. So he would be the messiest child probably doing the craft, but his craft would be brilliant and something different from everybody's. He'd not like to follow the instruction, but he would do it in a way that would be something beautiful and unique. Yeah. So, yeah. Thank you so much. And such wonderful stories. And everything shows that, that one person or event or group of people who really understand how different or, what his set of capabilities are and helping them, it really makes a child flower or bloom. And that brings me to what we were talking about, that what seems as distractibility can be curiosity, what seems as impulsivity could be creativity, and what seems as hyperactivity could just be energy, which just needs, proper acknowledgement and support. So changing our perspective will take us a long way in, acknowledging these children and individuals. And without much further ado, I would like to invite my colleagues Kanaga and Sheetal, who will now be sharing some techniques on storytelling, which will help with these children without making them feel out of place, as how inclusively we can include these children into the fora while using storytelling techniques. Over to you, Kanaga and Sheetal.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you ready for the story?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to share a story. As I've experienced so many stories, this story was really pop-up for the ADHD students. See, Now I'm going to start a story. It was a dense forest, branches creaks, and squirrels chattering, and leaves are rustling, birds are singing, and insects humming. Yeah, it was a beautiful forest where all the different kinds of animals occupies their own space. Here comes our hero, Yaki. Yaki the elephant. The story name is Yaki the elephant. You know, I am a strong, stout, a big mammal in the forest. I can see all the things because of my huge figure. One day, I'm not feeling well. I'm suffering with severe cold and a cough, but not corona. Due to the severe sickness, after a week, I shrunk into the normal size elephant. Day by day, I have become so sick. All of my friends came to me. They inquired me, how are you, Yaki? How you are feeling good? No, I'm feeling better. No, I'm not seeing any improvement in my health. Can you do me a favor? Can you tell me some solutions to get rid of that? Okay, all the animals came to the Yaki and said the solution. Day by day, Yaki is getting worse. One day, a crane came. Yaki, I have heard you're not feeling well. Can I tell a solution? Yes, please. The elephant said, Yaki said, yes, please. I will give a herbal powder. You apply all over your body and go lie in the pond at the dawn. Okay, Yaki was so curious. Anyway, tomorrow I'm going to get back my real health and my real figure. The next day morning, all the animals were very curious to see the Yaki. Yaki applied all the herbal powder, all the stylum solution, kumkumadi, everything, whatever comes, he applied and laid on the pond. It was a 1 hour, 2 hour. Yaki want to get back this figure. So Yaki decided to stay the whole day till the dusk. After a while, all the animals were very curious to see the Yaki. Yeah, suddenly Yaki came out of that pond. All the animals were flabbergasted. What happened, you know? Why you know? Any guess? Any guess?
He must have changed his color.
No? Any guess? No guess. Now Yaki became a very tiny elephant. Now Yaki was so stressed. You already have been in my original figure. After applying this herbal powder, I become so tiny. Day by day, because of stress, the rumor was the news was rumored all over the forest. Everybody came. Yaki, what happened? Yaki, what happened your figure? Day by day, he was so stressed. After a monkey, a Siddha doctor's monkey came to that place. Yaki, I've seen you, such a huge figure. Now you have become so small, so sad. I will give you a suggestion. You take and follow it. Really, you will get your original image. Yaki just nodded his head. Now, the monkey said, if you hear the 1,000 stories, you will get back your figure. 1,000 stories? How come I can hear the 1,000 stories? No, this is but one condition. No story should be repeated twice. The only one story at a time. Just said, monkey said, and went off. The next day, all the animals started contributing each one stories to the Yaki. The sun story, moon story, farm story, season story, rich story, fable story, every story, one after the other. Once upon a time, yeah, this made a one after the other, one after the other, one after the other. At last, a tiny bird came. All of them, 919 stories was finished. One story is left. Yaki was so curious. Surely I'll get back my normal figure. The small tiny bird started singing, followed by a story. At the end of the story, the miracle happened. Yaki got his original image, but the ears become too big. So by hearing lot of stories, Yaki ears become very large than his body. Yaki enjoyed the story. All the animals contribute the story. This is the power of the storytelling. How we change the figure, how we change the behavior. Now Yaki got his original image. So we can take a tool as a storytelling for everybody to cherish their moments, to share your personal experience, to share the imagination, everything indulge in the storytelling. Now Yaki got his original image. These are the some positive things where he reserved from the stories. Thank you.
Thank you, Kanaga. So
Yeah.
she showed about how using voice modulation, movement, using props, how all these things contribute into effective storytelling, asking questions to the audience, involving them. So these are just some, and I would like to invite Sheetal. I think Sheetal is having connectivity issues. Just a moment.
Yes, Sheetal is not here.
She's going in and out, I think,
Mhm.
because of
Yeah, I'm gonna, okay.
yeah, she's here.
Hmm.
She's here. In case she has trouble connecting, I will just share the, yeah. Sheetal, are you good to go? You can keep your video off if you wish, if that helps. Some skills that Kanaga already shared, and then some other ones which Sheetal was going to demonstrate. And so voice modulation, role playing of characters, using props, movement and dance, gait, walk, musical elements, instrumental effects using drums or flutes, gestures, the pace, varying the pace, using tapping, using clapping. So just not, using the story as a voice, but engaging the children using body stimulation, touching, movement. And while doing this to an entire crowd of children, we are not just excluding a child, we're making it so inclusive that everybody is doing it. And it's actually helping some of the children who are there who might need more movement to stay regulated. So rubbing, banging, pounding, stomping, snapping, these are some different ways which help to create different beats. And these are done in a group. So I'm sure as storytellers, we have used some of these techniques in part or in full, or a lot of them sometimes. And we will just do a short exercise. We will go into groups. We'll go into 2 groups for now, one with Kanaga and one with me. And in these groups, we will explore a very simple story. So the hare and the tortoise and the lion and the mouse. And we will try to recreate the story in a way which includes some of these techniques which Kanaga has shared and which some Sheetal would have shared while she was here. So in case she can't come on board today, we will definitely ask her to record and put it out there. So.
Okay, I'm working on the breakout rooms. We're thinking 2 groups, are we?
Yes, because Sheetal is not here.
She's trying to get in again, but
she's having serious trouble.
having
a
challenge. Okay.
Maybe Kanaga, you can work with the lion and the tortoise. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
The lion and the mouse. And
Okay, done, Mary.
Yeah. And our group will work with the hare and the tortoise, and we'll see what comes up. I think 7 minutes is good to give us a sense of what it is like.
The hare and the tortoise, no?
Yes, yes.
The lion and the tortoise is.
I mixed it all up.
Okay, no problem.
Even that would be an interesting exploration. What would happen if there was a lion and the tortoise? For now, we'll stick to the regular story and see how that goes.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to send you off. Okay. Bye-bye.
Yeah, 7 minutes, Eric.
Okay.
Thank you.
Judy.
Eric, you didn't give me a room.
Oh, I'm such a bad guy.
Well, no, I wouldn't say you're a bad guy, maybe a forgetful one, but not a bad guy.
Okay, I'm going to assign you. Oh my goodness, Sheetal's calling me. Just a second. Hello? Yeah. Okay, keep trying, keep trying. It's okay. Thanks, bye-bye.
Must be so frustrating.
Yeah, but Mary's doing such a great job, and Kanaga, they're not missing a beat. Okay. Okay, see you soon.
So how was this experience for all of you? And would somebody like to share how did it go, or do a part of your story?
That was
For our team, it was very energetic.
Yes.
And all of them spoke out very well. It was a different idea, to think differently. That was really good. And I like the gender-based thing. Hair can have long hair, soft hair. That was very nice.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. In fact, we could live with the characters while we were narrating the story. So that was the best part. And as Judy has brought in the elements, that inclusiveness, like, whatever the hair was doing, we were all doing along with her. So that is what one of the elements, like, interacting. So that was really good.
Yeah, it was nice. The different, by switching, people switching up, you got a little slight, like we all accepted the hare, we all accepted the tortoise, but we got slight variations and slight new things. So it kept it fresh. So it enlivened the story, I felt. Like you just weren't quite sure what was going on with that tortoise or with that hare.
Exactly.
Yeah. And the other group, how was your experience with the lion and the mouse?
Yeah, it was nice. They framed very good story.
It was good. We talked about using the melody from Row, Row, Row Your Boat. And
So would you
Kajal,
like to do a bit of it? That would be
well, here there went the mouse up and down the forest, merrily, 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 merrily. The forest is like a dream. And we talked about using the different voices for the mouse and the lion. We talked about using footsteps for the lion moving. What else? Kajal, Gitanjali?
Yeah, then we also spoke about voice modulation because the lion has loud voice. I was sleeping, I was disturbing. I'll be useful one day. So I think that's the advantage of the story. You can have two different sounds, voice modulation. And yeah, we also spoke about the effects of the mouth, like while he nibbled, and he nibbled. So children will try to make this sound as well. And yeah, we decided to end the story with another song, which was like this: Lion and the Mouse became friends again. Lion and the Mouse became friends again. La 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 la.
La la la.
Yeah, we could all sing that together.
The lion mouse became friends
Friends again, the lion and the mouse can be friends again. The lion and the mouse can be friends again.
La la la.
Beautiful. Judy,
No, that's a
The line was freed, chop, chop, chop. The line was freed, chop, chop, chop. The line was freed. Lion and mouse became friends again.
My story has impacted a lot my group, I think so.
So I have a recording which Sheetal had shared initially of her storytelling, and because we have time, I'll just try to play that because she's not able to join, and she's put in so much effort. I really would hope this plays. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Can you hear?
So namaste and a
Yes.
big
Okay, cool.
So now what I am going to do is look at all of you as children and not as adults, a group of children who has 2-3 ADHD children too. And for the sake of the demo, I am going to do the storytelling by myself as a solo. But when you are actually telling a story to a group of children with ADHD kids, it is good to have all of them participate and all of them do some role or the other so that it sustains their attention and it helps them channelize their energies because of the curiosity of what is going to happen next, what is going to happen next. And now the story. It was a day just like any other day. Krishna got out of the bed and in a jiffy was ready to go out with his friends for grazing their cattle. But of all the days, Maya and Yashoda chose today to say, "Oh Krishna, please don't go today. Please don't go inside the forest because you will get scared of all the wild animals there. You will get scared of the elephant, the snake, the lion." Krishna said, "Oh Maya, don't you worry. I will not go inside the forest. I will just stay nearby. So don't worry and don't be afraid." Mad make karni ni poga vedam chonne. Mad make karni nan poven tadei sholade niye. And off went Krishna. He started calling all his friends, his elder brother, Baldav, Uddhava, Sukumara, Ananda, come. We have to take the cows and go to the forest. And then it was time to call the cows. Janaki, Gauri, come. And the cows, Gauri, Virati, Pichu, all came with their bells tingling, ting, 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 ting. And the boys with their sticks, ting, 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 ting. Off we go to the forest, to the forest, to the forest, where the grass is green. Off we go to the forest, the forest, the forest, where we have never been. And dancing and singing, the boys went off, and the cattle behind them. And not paying heed to mom's instructions, they went inside the forest, where the grass was very green. The boys started playing. The cattle started eating the lush, green, juicy grass. And Krishna, under the great banyan tree, started playing his flute. Just then, suddenly, there was all hustle bustle. Sukumara saw a snake rustle by, and Ananda saw the deers running for cover. Uddhava saw the elephant hurrying back. So what was it all about? The monkey started cackling. Who were they afraid of? Who was coming? And there they saw the Lion King coming, charging towards the cows. The cows started running helter and skelter, helter and skelter. The boys ran and took cover behind the big trees. They stood there hiding, scared. Oh my God, what will happen now? And then Krishna heard Janaki's Amma, Amma, and he came out of his stupor to see what happened. Oh, there, Janaki was running in the front, and the lion was behind her, chasing her. There, Krishna just took one leap and came in between Janaki and the lion. And with one blow of his stick, he hit the lion on his head. The lion, shocked from the impact, retreated and ran off. The boys came running. Yay, Krishna, Krishna, you saved us, you saved us. And they did a jig. Dhimikita, dhimikita, dim, dim, dhimikita, dhimikita, dim, dim. And off they went, off they went. Let's go back home. What we did in the forest. Thank you.
Oh, there she is.
So sorry, my sincere apologies. I lost you all. But thank you, Mary. Thank you for playing that recording.
That was so beautiful. That was very nice. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Would you
And
like to
very.
add? Yeah.
I think it,
Go on.
I think that it incorporates everything you guys have been talking about. You know, it varied. It had physical things that the kids could join in. I really loved the little bell, even though the cows were the smallest I've ever seen cows. They had a little bell, and I adored that. So, like, it was these little nuances that enriched it for me, and it keeps you engaged, right? And it will keep the children engaged. And then you had the bigger. And you know, and that, but that, yeah, no, I and your physical life where he showed up and he was right there, like you could see it. It's a great gift to be able to let people see what you're seeing.
I witnessed Kuttikadan telling a story some years ago now to a big group of children, ordinary children, and they would often imitate your movements, Kuttikadan. You know, you'd go like this, and they'd go like this,
Yeah.
and sometimes they would respond to your movements. You'd go like this, and they'd go like this.
Mm.
It was really very interesting the way they moved en masse, either imitating you or responding to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so moving forward, we're coming to a close. But before closing, I'd just like to add that as a storyteller, sometimes some of us may identify with ADHD, or what are things that can help a storyteller or a person who has to speak in front of public when you have ADHD is practicing enough, because sometimes some things that they struggle with are organization, keeping deadlines, keeping a sense of time, managing emotions, and delegating tasks, because sometimes it's very difficult to ask for help. And these are some things which can be taken care of, in the sense practicing in front of a mirror, practicing all the skills that we use to tell children also help the teller stay regulated. Having someone to delegate some of the other tasks so that the focus can be on the storytelling, and practicing other techniques like mindfulness, yoga, whatever appeals to you on a larger scale, or in the general life, to help stay calm in those moments when you feel a little anxious or overwhelmed, because it can be difficult. And before I end, I would just like to share a poem which I found online. The author is it's anonymous, but I really loved the way it describes ADHD. I'll just read it out to you. Take my hand and come with me. I want to teach you about ADHD. I need you to know, I want to explain. I have a very different brain. Sights, sounds, and thoughts collide. What to do first, I can't decide. Please understand, I'm not to blame. I just can't process things the same. Take my hand and walk with me. Let me show you about ADHD. I try to behave, I want to be good, but I sometimes forget to do as I should. Walk with me and wear my shoes. You'll see it's not the way I choose. I do know what I'm supposed to do, but my brain is slow getting the message through. Take my hand and talk with me. I want to tell you about ADHD. I rarely think before I talk. I often run when I should walk. It's hard to get my schoolwork done. My thoughts are outside having fun. I never know just where to start. I think with my feelings and see with my heart. Take my hand and stand by me. I need you to know about ADHD. It's hard to explain, but I want you to know. I can't help letting my feelings show. Sometimes I'm angry, jealous, or sad. I feel overwhelmed, frustrated, and mad. I can't concentrate and I lose all my stuff. I try really hard, but it's never enough. Take my hand and learn with me. We need to know more about ADHD. I worry a lot about getting things wrong. Everything I do takes twice as long. Every day is exhausting for me, looking through the fog of ADHD. I'm often so misunderstood. I would change in a heartbeat if I could. Take my hand and listen to me. I want to share a secret about ADHD. I want you to know there is more to me. I'm not defined by it, you see. I am sensitive, kind, and lots of fun. I'm blamed for things I haven't done. I'm the loyalist friend you'll ever know. I just need a chance to let it show. Take my hand and look at me. Just forget about the ADHD. I have real feelings just like you. The love in my heart is just as true. I may have a brain that can never rest, but please understand, I'm trying my best. I want you to know, I need you to see. I'm more than the label. I am still me. Thank you so much for being such a participative audience. We had a good time. doing this or getting this rolling, and it has been a lot of fun just being here with all of you. Sorry for taking 2 minutes extra, Eric, 3 actually.
Mhm. Okay, well, thank you so much, Mary and Sheetal and Kanika.
Yeah.
And
Thank
now
you.
we'll stop the recording.